He would bite down on a padded bar connected to Barney's jaw, and when the actor nodded his head, it would open and close the mouth. At the same time, he would pin his elbows to his sides since the T-Rex's arms were so short, and as he danced, he would reach over 100 degrees inside, but the head didn't come off. So he would stick a fan inside the dinosaur's mouth to stay cool. Inside the assassin's teapot, there are two chambers, one filled with tea and the other filled with poison. If you cover the hole on the poison chamber, it blocks the air coming in, which stops the poison from coming out, so only the tea will be poured in your cup. Covering the hole on the tea chamber will allow only the poison to be poured out in the enemy's cup. Covering both holes makes it so nothing comes out, and pouring with both open allows the two liquids to mix together. Inside the assassin's teapot, if you jumped from a 50-story building, you might think bubble wrap could save you. That's because bubble wrap compresses under impact. But you would need a mattress over 7 feet thick, enough to slow your fall gradually and spread the force over a large area. And if you wrapped yourself in bubble wrap, you'd need over 15,000 layers. This would create a suit nearly 500 feet thick to absorb the same force. If you jumped from a shark swallowed a severed arm before it was eaten by a different shark. And then later, at the aquarium, that shark puked up the arm, which had tattoos. But police noticed the arm wasn't bitten off by the shark because the edge was clean, not shredded, meaning someone had used a knife to chop it off. So they matched one tattoo to a criminal who had recently vanished, leading them to their suspect, a man he was trying to blackmail. He agreed to talk, but before the trial, he was shot dead in his car. The case was closed, and to this day, no one knows what happened. He marked the tiles with invisible ink, and some think he was wearing special contact lenses, allowing him to see symbols that no one else could, giving him an advantage. Soon, the other players grew suspicious and accused him of cheating, and before he could deny it, they grabbed a chair and slammed it down on his head. Police later found the marked tiles, but they never found the lenses. He marked the tiles with invisible ink. He hid beneath the floorboards to spy on his enemy, according to the story. But as he crouched there, a spear suddenly stabbed down through the floor, piercing the ninja through the shoulder. You see, the guard had previously noticed mosquitoes hovering above the floor, and he knew they were attracted to humans. When he thrust his spear in, the ninja cried out, and a second guard smoked him out with a flamethrower, keeping the warlord safe. He hid beneath the floor. A butterfly's tongue is as thin as a strand of hair and hollow like a tiny straw, and it could be threaded through the eye of a needle. Now, if you took a hippo's tongue and dropped it onto a microwave, it would cover the entire surface. But the blue whale's tongue is so massive that if you plopped it onto a car, the 5-ton muscle would crush the metal completely, flattening it like a pancake. A butterfly's tongue is as thin as a strand of hair. Have you ever wondered why you're not allowed to smile in passport photos? Well, believe it or not, the reason actually kind of makes sense. You see, each passport has a microchip inside that stores your biometric information. Things like the distance from your nose to your chin, or how wide your mouth is. And if you smiled in your passport photo, these measurements would be skewed, making it harder to confirm your identity. Have you ever wondered why you're If you ground up every cow on Earth and shaped it into a patty, you would have a burger over a mile wide. It would be twice the height of the Statue of Liberty and weigh 400 million tons. To grill it, you would need a pan bigger than Central Park and a volcano beneath to heat it. And since it would contain over a quadrillion calories, it would be enough to feed every human on Earth more than 200 times. If you ground If you're stuck in a sauna, most people think they'll just wait it out until someone finds them. But this intense heat has been known to kill people who get stuck inside. Instead, find the source of the heat, usually in the corner, and try to turn it off or break it. Next, move close to a vent where the air is slightly cooler, and if all else fails, break the door to escape. If you're The robber fired the gun right at his head, but at the same time, the man put his hands up to cover his face. And instead of piercing through his skull, the bullet struck his wedding ring. It deflected off the metal, splitting it into two pieces. One got stuck in his finger and the other pierced his neck. But apart from minor injuries and a dented ring, the man walked away unharmed. The robber When Pinocchio lies, his nose grows. So what would happen if he said, "My nose is about to grow"? If it did not grow, then that would mean he was lying, which would cause his nose to grow. But his nose growing would then indicate that he was not lying, which means his nose should have never grown. What do you think would happen? If you collected all the grease from your hair, you'd have around a gram of oil per day. And after about 2 years, you'd have enough to fry a single corn dog. Now, deep frying a whole turkey would take about 27 years of collected hair grease. And if you kept gathering it for over 500 years, you'd have about 60 gallons, which is enough oil to deep fry an entire pig. They say he had a second face on the back of his head, one that could smile, cry, and even whisper terrible things at night. Legend has it that the face couldn't eat or speak, but it was said to laugh when he cried and mutter words only he could hear. No doctor would remove it, and the man claimed it tormented him constantly. And according to the legend, he couldn't take it anymore and ended his own life, leaving behind a chilling note about his suffering. The tiny rounds are loaded, then the whole thing is screwed back into the ring. A small lever on the side is used to cock the gun, and when a hidden button is pushed, a tiny hammer strikes a firing pin. This ignites the gunpowder inside the round, which shoots the bullet forward. Now, without a barrel, it doesn't get very far, but it can still buy you a few seconds. The tiny rounds are loaded, then a small balloon is placed under the scalp near the hairline, and over the next few weeks, doctors slowly fill it with liquid, causing the skin above to stretch and grow. This creates a visible bulge as the skin expands. Now, once there's enough extra skin, a second surgery removes the balloon, leaving a flap of stretched skin. The hair-covered scalp is then pulled down and carefully stitched in place, and over time, you'll have a shorter forehead with more hair. He took the master key and pressed it into melted candle wax, making a perfect impression. The mold was smuggled out of the prison, and his allies used it to make a metal copy. They hid it inside a cake and sent it back to him. But when he tried the key, it didn't fit. So he sent another wax impression and waited for the cake. And this time, the key worked. He passed through every locked gate, simply walking out of the prison, and years later he became president of Ireland. He took the master key and